thrown out. While that's going on, already doing trading here in the top lane. Chasing on that Fiora, and similarly, taking a look in the mid lane as Larson is already shoving forward.
But look at Malrang's pathing here. He's gone for a completely weird one. He's not going buff to buff. He's actually just taken his wolves. Now he's going red. He'll be able to clear out his Krugs in the backside, but maybe even just look for level 2. Good ward from Mad Lions, though, expecting some sort of early play here in that tribe rush to see if they can spot Malrang.
I mean, Kazi and Hylissang are playing on the front foot. Still level 1, so much damage being traded. Summoner heals blown from both Kazi and Trimby. Malrang is on those Krugs. If Kazi and Hylissang stick around, maybe there's an opportunity. But for the time being, it's going to be Larson under siege. Alyoya dashes over the wall, level 3 available to him. But Niski is low from the poke.
Malrang's realizing he won't get anything on bot side, though. He's wrapping back up towards his Raptor, so might be here for the play on mid lane.
Oh, very, very close. Alyoya is still sitting, waiting for one of those movement abilities to be used. That's Niski dashing over the minions, will not find the chains. Larson flashes over the wall. And as Malrang shows up on the ward, no further follow. So Summoner Spell blown, that is still a win for Mad Lions.
Yeah, nice attempt from Niski. I think he was trying to predict where that movement from Larson was going to be, either with the shuffle or with the flash, but doesn't quite get it. Still, flash blown in the mid lane leaves Larson significantly more vulnerable, especially if Alyoya goes for that flash Q into mid. Easy setup for Niski with his own flash as well.
Yeah, once he gets to level 6, got the ability to reposition Larson with an Emperor's Divide as well. And for the time being, Malrang and Alyoya looking for opportunities. They've both spent a fair amount of time just lingering or shadowing where the lanes could be. And look at this, Kazi and Hilly, after they've shoved in to Koi's bottom lane, immediately just step into the river in case anything was going to happen. So decent start here from both sides. And Shigenda and Chasey continue to just trade blows back and forth.
Yeah, Malrang's such a bro. He's just standing there at the side of the river going like, no access to mid lane at all for you, Alyoya. Even though he wants to try and move back up towards his top side to clear out the camps that he didn't get on his first clear, he knows that he has to let Larson crash that wave or it's going to be a disaster. But does give Larson a little bit of a CS lead, but now Larson needs to play safe because Alyoya will be gunning for him. Doesn't matter if he needs 6, he doesn't need anything. He just needs both flashes and Niski Alyoya to punish Larson before he gets to that 6-minute mark.
And I really like how Hilly and Kazi are playing this lane, using the angles to their advantages, continually chunking down Comp and Trimby. So they're always lower on HP. The wave is once again pushing into their tower, but Malrang is sitting in that middle lane for now. So it's going to be a little while before either team will be in a position, but Comp and Trimby with level 3, they could look to chase. They've got to get through the barrier of Hylissang if he's the target.
But this is what I mean about Malrang being a pro. He hasn't gone for those 2 camps on top side. He's immediately moved back down towards the bot. He actually dodged the vision there as well. He flag and dragged over. He's going to wait until his flag and drag is back up, and they're going to look for the dive here.
This is exactly what Ender was talking about on the analyst desk. Stats be damned. The impact's what you want. Comp and Trimby go forward. First blood secured by Hilly. Immediately countered by Trimby. As it is supportal combat on the way. Malrang gets himself the assist, but it's Mad that get the bonus bolt.
Yeah, I mean, it's assists on both sides, right? Both AD carries not quite able to get the kill, and at least the wave crashed, but here comes mid.
Alyoya looking for the stun, flashes forward for it, and that means Larson's in trouble. The slide, the glide, no Emperor's Divide underneath the tower though. Niski's taking a shot, and he manages to escape. So close, 60 HP, and Niski gets out.
Where's Koi though? Malrang's on the hunt. Niski moving back in towards the mid lane. He can't crash this wave. He needs to get immediately back to his own side of the rift.
Mad Lions bounce back with the gank of their own in the middle lane. Larson so nearly made that work. But unfortunately for him, not enough tower shots connecting onto Niski's Silas.
You can see both game plans though for Alyoya and Malrang. Malrang, we talked about punishing bot side, tries to make the play happen, ends up being a 1-for-1 with Comp going a bit aggressive, but in the mid lane, that's the repeat gank I want to see. Now, does get significantly harder as we just crossed the 6-minute mark. Larson will hit level 6 off this wave, so trying to make these plays work with the Emperor's Divide and also both flashes on mid and jungle down is going to be more difficult, but I want to see if Alyoya now can turn his attention to countering Malrang's plays on bot side.
Right now, he's showing his face in a moment to the top lane. Shigenda's got that all out available to him. Both top laners level 6, and Malrang just crossing his blue buff. So Ghost has been thrown down, sidestepping some of that CC and uses the all out to put some distance between Alyoya and Chasey. But again, successful getting that summoner spell. Alyoya had a more meaningful impact on these opening 7 minutes.
You can see though why oftentimes you don't need to take flash on this Cassante. It's so hard to lock you down. You got so much mobility when it comes towards your E, especially the all-out form. The all-out being knocked back as well makes things easy, but Niski...
That's the Emperor's Divide on both sides. Malrang is thrown in the face of Niski as Alyoya steps forward. Now all of a sudden the fight's in the bottom lane. Comp is just obliterated by the poke and the range of Kazi and Helisang. Trimby forced to use that heal on himself, steps backwards, and he escapes with his life, but that's another kill to Mad Lion's bottom lane.
And a kill pre-6 as well. You just get to repeat this. I mean, Cleanse is still there for comp, but I mean, when you've got the Ashel, the Varus, Chains of Corruption, a Sejuani as well that come down to bot side, suddenly this becomes a very easy kill into Dragon setup, into keeping this game rolling over in favor of Mad Lions.
And if Helisang is able to use those Enchanted Crystal Arrows, can allow both Niski and Chasey potentially down the lanes like we've seen last week already from those Ash Arrows.
I think this is just a really good showing from Karzi and Helisang, though. We talked about how these guys have been so good at being consistent in their lane, but I mean, Comp and Trimby have been one of the big shining lights for Koi. This bot lane has been so strong for so long in the LEC, but I mean, Karzi and Hilly just getting the better of them with this combo.
And also, you know, picking the duo into the Lucian Nami. Lucian was that first pick. They immediately responded with that Ash and then Varus on the third one. And it's just, we're in a very tense situation, and it's interesting to see Mad Lions in the lead because these two teams have got a head-to-head of 18 to 14, with the regular season being 9-3 in favor of Koi, formerly Rogue, of course. Those additional wins and losses come from playoff series, where Mad Lions are 3-2 up in playoff series. This is part of the reason we're in this match of the week. Both of these teams sitting near the top, middle of the table, and contesting for as high a seed as possible, looking towards the group stage.
This does feel like a different version. Oh,
there's the Ash Arrow. Talked about it immediately. Chain CC and easy peasy. Mad Lions kill Lawson.
I mean, he had flash, he had the shuffle, he had everything he could, but just couldn't move at all. Great arrow from Hilly from downtown. Now Chasey looking for a bit on top side.
Stepping forward, got the flash available to him, held on to the grand challenge. But that's what we've seen great Ash players do, surprising their opponents with those crystal arrows, and it sets up just a really easy kill.
And an easy Rift Herald as well. You've already got push on bot for Karzi and Hilly. They're going to move up towards the Rift Herald as well. I mean, you've got ults still available for Karzi as well. Hilly's is nearly back, so you can't really contest this here as Koi without actually running into more and more CC than Mad Lions offer.
I mean, right now, Koi is starting to just stagger and fall further behind. It's a 2,000 gold lead. If you look down the CS numbers, small advantage in the top lane for Chasey, but it's even everywhere else. The problem is here, the kills that are being secured, the assists that are going around, is just accelerating Mad Lions.
And this is exactly what I wanted to see coming from Mad Lions as well. We said they needed to get off the bat early so they could try and play it through these side lanes, not run afoul of the team fighting that could be brought to the table from Koi. Well, I mean, arrows like this, setting up plays like this for Mad Lions is exactly what they need to do. Look to take the map early, play for picks, play for vision, and make sure that there's no way that Koi can actually find these big team fights.
I mean, Mad Lions, they got themselves the first blood, they've got themselves the first dragon, they've got themselves the first herald. Now they're going to potentially use that to look for a tower. We've seen some lane swaps now as Comp and Trimby are now stepping forward with Malrang, who has that Cataclysm available to him. Riposte by some time. Chasey's able to escape. Three members of Mad Lions now pushing on the bottom lane, so we've got a little bit of split map happening.
The thing is, though, you've double AD carry on the bot side, right? So you're going to be able to take that turret significantly faster. You also have the Rift Herald as well, so Koi can trade for plates, but it's going to be a losing race. Chasey.
Oh, that was very, very close. Chasey steps forward to try get some of that experience to the minions that are being denied. While that's going on, the bottom tower is falling. 3 plates already secured. It's going to fall in just a moment, and Chasey is literally dodging, dipping, ducking, and diving all of the skill shots and the CC thrown at him.
I mean, this is fantastic play from Mad. Shigenda doesn't quite get clipped by the Chains of Corruption. Malrang has reset, though. He's on his way. Azir's on the way. We're getting the fight.
Cataclysm available, not thrown just yet. Lawson steps forward, has got that slide and glide, picks up a kill onto Helisang. The Rift Herald was dropped and takes the tower. While that is going on, the top lane is still under pressure. Comp and Trimby continue to try chip away and try to at least answer back. But Chasey's doing a good job of pulling their focus. The culling goes wide, doesn't do enough damage, and this tower will stand.
I mean, it's a good call from Koi to punish the greediness that Mad Lions were going for. They don't turn down the Rift Herald immediately. They don't try and take the tower. So instead, they're like, okay, Malrang can come down here. Larson is pushing mid. Let's defend this. So yes, you get the tower. One more arrow, though. is a swing and a miss, but this is still Koi doing a good job of trying to find windows back into this game.
And it's a little bit against what we were expecting because Koi's early games throughout the course of winter have normally been a little bit better. We're taking a look at one of our replays being set up here.
Yeah, I mean, we're just looking at where Hilly and stuff are moving right now. You're looking again to see if they can move down towards that bottom half of the map. JC once more has control, but I want to see what this composition is going to do for Mad Lions, because I think one of the big things that I've seen from Mad Lions is that they've been very impatient when it comes towards objectives, where they'll try and go that bit too far forward, you know, won't take their time, and ends up causing the major issues where not everyone is in place, or maybe they don't find the right person at the right time. This is a composition that you need to be patient with. You need to find these picks. You need to be playing around vision. So this, for me, is a composition that Mad Lions are kind of testing the water with to learn those thoughts.
Well, for the time being, they've used it very well. They managed to pull Chasey back. He's survived long enough that his tower is still up, at least for a moment or two longer. Moving their resources around. Mad Lions still maintain that 3,000 gold lead. Alyoya tried to go fishing in the middle lane. Didn't manage to clip Larson, however. Now this tower is under threat. Hylissang is nearby. Does he fire Enchanted Crystal Arrow or not? There's no real support just yet until Alyoya gets a little closer though, so don't think an engage will happen.
No, especially when you've already got the rest of Mad Lions moving up here as well. So they're perfectly happy to just keep this one going. Hilly is here just for moral support. Realistically, Karzi wants to be in the mid lane so then he can continue to just push this forward. You've always got pressure then for dragging this in a minute and a half. And this is where you can start to use the fact you've got great pick and great push with Karzi, where shove mid, immediately dip into Fog of War, and just fish for arrows constantly onto Koi.
Now, Koi also are not particularly comfortable in the deficit. If you take a look at the gold differences throughout winter this year, normally up 1,000 gold. Then at 20 minutes, only 800. And then it starts to dip. For any long-time viewers, you may remember Rogue Time. There's a little bit of that coming into effect.
Definitely is. I mean, our stats team called it the coin flip at the time, which I think is a great name for this. But I think the big one for me is kind of looking at how this feels like a very different Koi as well. We had Shigenda come in, play for these split push, play more carry as I'm watching this arrow.
Ash Arrow! It's
No
gonna
way!
hit! It's gonna
No
hit!
way!
All of a sudden, the Empress Divine is hijacked, and now Larson will, by some time, get stunned once more and sniped! Sniped by Sejuani!
Bird is the word today for the Mad Lions, and they are eating it well. Every time this arrow's up, it seems to be hunting for Larson. Now, though, they need to get back down towards this bot side. They have to try and contest for this dragon. And you can already see Koi in a position, trying to see if Malrang he can fish for a pick, but a lot of vision in the river still established for Mad Lions.
There's a couple of wards near that red buff area of Koi, so Mad will have a little bit of info to play with. 2 teleports available to them. And just a friendly reminder that this is Hylissang's first professional game on Ashe. He's landing those arrows from unique angles, places you're not necessarily anticipating. And I think all of the focus onto Larson is why he's down 1,000 gold. He's down 20 CS. He hasn't even completed his boots just yet. So if a dragon fight breaks out, Niski's in a significantly better position. Well, Alyoya's going to get caught by the bubble. Tidal wave, cataclysm, everything thrown, but there's just not enough damage. And in fact, it's going to be Malrang that's taken out. Now the slows applied to Comp. He manages to dash away from that piercing arrow. Sand Soldiers put a lot of damage onto Hilly. He flashes over the wall, but Mad Lions should have control of the river.
And they have control of side lanes. I mean, Niski's just been pushing topside this whole time. Chasey in the same position. So you end up going for Koi, trying to outnumber people in the mid lane, and they're still the ones that are coming out behind. This is really well played for Mad Lions. They are not letting up on this pressure.
Second dragon about to be secured. A 5,000 gold lead for now. Still maintaining all of their towers, and Koi do have some bounties to play for. But I think Dagda, now I want to keep an eye on how Mad Lions play this next passage of the game. Where do they push their vision? How patient are they? How well do they set up for the objectives? Because they have all the tools available to them.
Rift Herald is definitely their next play because they need to try and crack open this mid lane turret. They want to try and establish vision on Koi's side of the map and make sure that Koi aren't really able to set up properly to get answers for Niski and Chasey in the side lane. Already you can see them getting into a solid position, but if I'm Koi, I want to try and match this right now. Like before this gets out of hand, we've Gale Force for the Lucian. You don't want to give over more pressure to Mad Lions, and this is your moment to try and find a team fight. Waves aren't in a bad position, but I mean, look at where Larson is. they're not really looking to try and find a fight right now. So Mad will happily take this one for free.
Well, they will find an opportunity on Niski as Malrang is waiting just behind the hijack. Oh! Sets up the counterpunch! Niski obliterates Koff. Now Malrang's the target. Stepping forward once again. Flag and drag over the wall, gets a small heal. The blast cone gets Niski close, but he needs to land the CC. Helisang steps forward. He's a little bit alone, but no one's going to turn on to him. And with the Rift Herald in the middle lane, there's pressure in the top lane. Mad Lions are in absolute control.
I mean, Niski's getting frisky. Mad Lions are coming alive here as well, pushing in towards the mid. You've got pressure here for Chasey on top side. Across the board, Larson, you can see he's only just reset now. So Mad Lions, I mean, they're just destroying Koi.
Well, they don't need to be patient for objectives if they can create opportunities. That Rift Herald takes 2 towers down the mid lane. Chasey takes the top inner turret down as well. And that was just phenomenal from Niski.
That was so well played. And I mean, look at all the vision that's been left on the way out as well for Mad. Like, they're making sure that they are getting that control that they need to continue putting this pressure down. Niski now back in this bot lane. He's going to start pushing in once more. He does have to be careful, though, as the rest of his team has reset. He is quite extended, but should be able to just clear this wave and move along nicely.
I mean, take a look at all the vision set up on the western quadrant of the map. Koi's jungle around blue buff is completely littered. We're 18 minutes into the game, and Mad Lions are in complete control. The thing that's very impressive with how they've played this game out was just how proactive they have been. They have been in the face of Koi, using those Ash arrows, moving Elyoya around pretty much every single lane, and then Niski was just a fantastic outplay as well.
Yeah, and I mean, for Mad, they have been one of the teams that have been relatively okay at trying to like play through side lanes in 1-3-1, but we're really stepping it up a notch here with this one, where they're just so good at finding these quick picks, like using Elyoya, using Hilly, and just making sure they can continue having this dominating control over the entire map.
Now, how do Koi bring themselves back into this? We've seen a number of times they simply don't have the damage when they do lock down a target. If they are able to obviously get to Kazi and Helisang, it'll be significantly easier to kill them, but the problem is you need to get through a Fiora, a Sejuani, and a Silas.
Well, one of the things that really impressed me about Koi in summer was their ability to very quickly overload one side of the map, find a quick pick, slow down the pace of the game, and then try and play for their late game team fights. But it feels like their team fighting hasn't been as strong as it is in summer, and we just haven't seen them going for these quick plays on side lanes either anymore. So I wouldn't be surprised if Koi try to find a pick somewhere, but where do you try and go for it? I mean, vision is everywhere right now for Mad Lions.
Also, the entirety of this last 4 minutes of gameplay, Chasey has been playing solo in either the top or the middle lane. As Mad Lions are grouping up to apply pressure somewhere else, he's still generating that lead. He's got that teleport available to him. So Mad Lions are playing on multiple lanes at the same time, and it's even more difficult for Koi to find an answer.
Yeah, and Koi are trying to see if, hey, if Shigenda pushes out this top side, maybe we can then just play off of 2 lanes, very quickly collapse onto 1 lane, like punish Niski or Chasey if they overextend. But this is what we were kind of talking about with Mad Lions being much more cool, calm, and collected than I think a lot of people were expecting, where they're not overextending in side lanes. They're not giving people that opportunity to catch them out. And I mean, it's working wonders for them right now, where Koi have been trying to see if they can maybe get someone on a side lane, but every step of the way they're spotted.
I mean, take a look at the itemization. It is still a gigantic deficit for Koi. They are down 7,000 gold. We're 30 seconds from the next dragon. And the thing that I do appreciate is as Mad apply pressure to an area of the map, they leave behind a number of wards for a potential next play. So they've got some vision inside Koi's red buff if they want to go for that dragon. Right now, clearing out some of that Baron vision and setting up another line of wards. So multiple options here available to Mad, just depends on what direction they want to take it.
And that's where I'm like, okay, how many members of Koi end up at dragon? Because if they end up fully committing to trying to fight for this dragon, well, Mad just give it up. They just go straight for the inhibitor or go for the pick.
We're going to go for Calm. He's got the cleanse available to him, finally using it. Actually not just yet. Finally escapes with his life. Teleport committed from Chasey. So a couple of ultimates thrown in. Don't find the pick thanks to that flash, or the cleanse rather. And instead now Mad Lions decide they're going to fancy a shot here at Baron.
And you're looking at Koi immediately TP from Shigenda down towards this. They want to try and fight. If they can get on towards the backline, that could be devastating for Mad.
All right, Chain of Corruption is up for Kazi. Hijack just became available for Niski. Did Mad Lions rush this? Did they need more patience? Niski waiting in that blue buff area, can come over the wall. Gigantic piercing arrow, does so much damage as the Hijack culling doesn't find a kill. just yet. Chasey, however, will take down Larson. All of a sudden, Kazi finds one back. Now it's Chasey stepping forward once again. The Mad Lions absolutely crushing once more. This time, though, managing to find the different angles to engage.
And there was no way that Koi were able to find anything. You see Larson chuck himself into the back line to hope beyond hope that maybe this Emperor's Divide could turn the tide of this, but Mad Lions are ruthless. They're going to take the Baron. They're immediately going to go for Dragon. They're taking everything.
So question, Mad Lions just completely hit Koi with their wallets. It felt as though even in a slightly rushed engaged situation, the item disparity, the damage disparity, it just meant that Koi were at a massive disadvantage right from the beginning.
Yeah, I think it's very much a case of you have to try and work together for Koi, where it's like, okay, let's try and get on towards Karzi. We got the 1-2 punch of Malrang lock him down. Larson then take him out alongside Comp, kind of filling in on that damage. But if you actually watch how this fight kicks off, Karzi's very far positioned in the back line. Malrang is going for the steal, while the Rex the Koi are trying to go for the fight instead. So Karzi's just free to start poking away. He's under no real threat. Chasey now on the side as well with Niski, and the second they end up split up there as Koi and they're running for the hills, that's where Mad can pounce.
I mean, ultimately Mad come away the victors, but do you think, with what we were talking about in terms of the objectives, the pacing, do you think they rushed that? Do you think that was the right call just in terms of philosophy? Because the rest of the game has felt really kind of tempered and cool, and this one felt very urgent.
I think Mad knew what they were capable of. They got the near pick onto Comp, right? They forced him back, so cool, we can just immediately turn over towards the objective. There's not really going to be much of a contest that can come through from Koi in that time, and that forces the pressure onto Koi to have a rush decision, make sure that they actually can fight against them and not really give Koi angle into this game.
Well, for Mad Lions, it's kind of been the summary of this game. 24 minutes in, 3 Dragons, Baron, gigantic gold lead. They have absolutely led from minute 1. Kazi and Hilly were trading inside the bush. They got control of that bottom lane. And then all of a sudden, as soon as they start moving their members around the map, towers have fallen, and it's just been, again, a fairly one-sided game. Once the team has generated a lead, have been able to run away with it. And
I mean, the problem is that, Comp and Trimby were supposed to be your bridge alongside Malrang to the late game, but they fell behind so quickly. Malrang couldn't really stabilize that lane, especially when Oyoya started to cause issues in mid lane as well. So Mad have just done a really good job of keeping their stranglehold on this game. And again, very slow pace, very cool the way they want to try and approach this, and making sure that they aren't giving an opportunity for Koi to come back into it.
I mean, the crazy thing is the pressure has not let up at all. Every single dragon from that first has been on spawn. The Baron attempt and the vision setup, deliberate, clear. Mad Lions haven't taken a moment, and that means they haven't given Koi an opportunity to scale up and get themselves back into this game.
And now you're in a horrible spot as Koi. Karzi's knocking at your front door. He's got poke. We've got arrows going left, right, and center. And as well, Hilly as well with that poke. It makes it so hard to hold onto the base alongside that Baron creep wave. So now Koi trying to collapse on mid. This gives an opportunity for Chasey to get a bit of damage on top. See if you can put some pressure onto bot lane as well.
And of course, if you try to engage on any of the 2 or 3 man stacks, there's a lot of disengage tools for Mad Lions, and that just allows Chasey, who's been the primary split pusher, to push into that middle lane, take the inhibitor. All of a sudden, Hylissang steps forward, fires out the volley, piercing arrows from Kazi, not landing just yet. The second inhibitor in this bottom lane will be the focus. Koi, what will you do? Do you start to fight? Can you pull off a miracle? Malrang and Shigenda stepping forward. Good damage onto Chasey from Comp, but not enough. And they do at least defend that bottom inhibitor. But Mad Lions back away. They got a lot of money to spend. And we'll be able to come back and use those super minions to help them in their split push journey.
Yeah, Koi are just hunting for anyone who's lagging behind. Maybe find a pick that could buy them a bit of space, but again, Mad Lions doing their due diligence, pushing themselves back into river before they look for the reset. Koi can shove out these waves, but as you say, double our super creeps in the mid lane. You can just have Chasey start to poke away and prod away at that inhibitor on bot side, while the rest of Mad Lions look for the play on top. And the second you end up, pushed underneath your base here as Koi, there's the Mountain Soul coming up in 2 minutes. Mad just get to fall back and take that while you're cornered in your base.
I mean, look at the item disparity between the mid laners. Death Cap completed as well as the Everfrost. He's got the Seekers for now and the boots. And right now, Arson's been under so much pressure, hasn't even been able to upgrade those boots just yet. Only built that Banshee's Veil a little while ago. I mean, for Koi, it's another game where there are some struggles. Obviously, gigantic deficit because of Mad Lions' early game. Koi likely to lose this game, meaning that their next four, SK, Vitality, G2, and Astralis, those are the teams they're going to be looking to beat to try and reclaim their, title, the moniker that they built for themselves as the regular season kings.
Especially when Vitality and G2 are looking like two of the strongest teams we have in the LEC right now. This is a bit of an uphill battle for Koi. These are the wins that you would hope that they'd be able to pick up to try and reclaim that title as the regular season MVPs, but it's really not working out for them right now, and Mad Lions are putting on a clinic, making sure that Koi is just kept out of that pond.
They are, and again, it started from this bot lane of Hilly and Kazi being able to generate an advantage for themselves, but then crucially, I think Elyoya is still doing things that Elyoya does, engaging for Mad Lions, setting up all of these fights, and despite multiple ultimates being thrown out, Kazi's just going to flash over the wall, gets to safety. Marung buys some time with that stopwatch, and the SRO will slow down the engage. Shigenda can't find anything more as Niski is now jumped on inside the base. Chasey's taken out the top inhibitor, and Comp's trying to clear the minions. Chasey gets his kill onto Shigenda, the second of the game. 3 members still standing, facing an army of minions, and all 5 members of the Mad Lions.
And Mad Lions are happy to clean this one out. They're looking for more.
They are. They're going to fountain dive. Comp is being chunked out. Trimby's getting the heals, not taken out just yet, and some Sand Soldiers by the time. Minions are hammering away on the Nexus turrets. 1 and 2 have fallen. Now Mad Lions turn their attention to the Nexus. Comp's doing what little he can. Chasey steps forward and continues to chip away, but they took too much damage on that fountain dive, and Koi will live for a few moments longer.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a voluntary dive from Mad Lions. They take a step bit too far forward, and Larson will respond. They're going to try and fall back towards the dragon. Koi have to deal with their base, though. Super minions are spewing in 2 by 2 across the lanes, and it will give the opportunity for Mad not close out the game, but will get a soul that will put them ever closer.
Give themselves a little bit more damage numbers, a little bit more to the KDA. Secure the soul as well. And it is a expectation of a mere formality with no Nexus turrets, no inhibitors, and of course Mad Lions in this gigantic position. I mean, I think, look, we'll take this time just to look a little further ahead, because Mad Lions will be playing again tomorrow, right? They will be playing BDS, and of course, looking ahead to week 3, Fnatic, Heretics, and G2. So we've got ourselves the Monday games, we've got ourselves 3 more before the regular season is closed out, and with Mad Lions looking likely to go 4-1, they are sitting at the top of the table.
And that's where you want to be as well, avoiding the fact that you can get picked into some of these top teams as well. But for Mad Lions now, immediately over towards the Baron, they know the super creeps are doing the work for them, where they don't really have to worry about putting pressure on the base or Koi trying to respond to this, because, I mean, they're just on sweep-up duty in their own base at the moment.
Yeah, it's just interesting scenario to be in when you look at the adaptation to the new format, the new season, the new patch. Mad Lions have put a pretty dominant win here today. And they do need to keep this up, as we've now got 1 more siege to go. Koi, on the other hand, haven't given up just yet. Elyoya split off on the side, dashes over the wall. And with so many super minions and the Baron and the Soul, Mad Lions can look to do this stylishly. Hijacking the tidal wave. Trimby's the first target. Elyoya goes in, throws out the prison. Chasey and Niski hammering on the Nexus, and no kills will be secured as Mad Lions take down Rogue.
I mean, who needs kills when you can just go for the Nexus instead? I mean, Mad Lions, that was beautiful. Really, really well played. Controlled from start to finish, not giving up any inches to let Koi get back into the game. Like, this is what you want from some of the top teams in this region.
It is one of these things that once a team starts to move around the map, and they accelerate the pace of the game, it becomes so untenable for the opposition to come back in. They get suffocated out of the map.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you look at the way that this composition was operating, right? I think you've got Fiora, who's going to do wonders in the side lane against this Casanti as the game goes on. You've already massively snowballed your bot lane as well, because they're taking over. And then just playing around vision, looking for picks with the Sejuani, with this Ashe, making sure that you're always setting up that vision deep into the enemy jungle. And the fact they got the double Rift Heralds makes it so easy for them as well.
Now, Mad Lions, G2, and Team Vitality sitting at 4-1 at the top of the table is going to put some distance between them and now the 4th, 5th, 6th teams. Interesting scenario, but also very interesting to look at how these teams are developing and evolving, because I did not expect that from Mad Lions today.
No, not even a little. I think the big thing for me is the patience factor we kind of talked about with Mad Lions, where when I was looking at it a lot was when they got to objectives, they'd kind of, okay, let's start it up, let's try and force the fight, let's try and get the ball rolling somewhere. But I think this game kind of showed that they do have that other side to them, which is we can actually play this very slow, we can play this methodic.
Thank you so much.
Nostro.
Vuoi per il loro avversario di oggi, vuoi per la situazione in classifica. Insomma, abbiamo detto noi di non poterci perdere nessuna partita. Sono questi Astralis che non possono perdere oggi.
18.00 ragazzi.
La la, ok. Ok, Astralis primo ban Elise. Abbiamo visto tutti che cosa ha fatto Markun con Elise la scorsa settimana. Non è solo un meta ban che vediamo ormai essere lanciato spesso e volentieri dal blue side, ma è una freccia che va... Più che una freccia la definirei un cappello che gli Astralis si tolgono in rispetto alla giungla degli Sky.
Abbastanza obbligatorio. La freccia è quella banata dall'altro lato, la Ash che abbiamo visto molto spesso nelle mani dei supporti, questo split e di Jong-un nello specifico. Yuumi bannata perché sì.
Gli Sky stanno bannando solo supporti.
Sì, stanno bannando solo supporti, adesso bannano anche Kalista, effettivamente.
O Varus, o Twitch, insomma ci sono tanti ottimi supporti.
Dovrebbero bannare Merdinger a proposito di supporti, perché comunque tra quei supporti, per quanto sia gestibile, è quello che spesso abbiamo visto con più potere, ma c'è anche da dire DOS ed Hexakick finora performance eccezionali. Parlavi di Sertus, anche la bot degli Sky artefice di grandi performance, infatti non temono scontri in botlane, bannato Ryze, piccata Sejuani.
Mi piace questo pick di Sejuani, comunque hanno bannato Maokai, si sono assicurati il power pick sulla giungla nel tier 0 e bot è tutto open, quindi non hai fretta di andare a prendere Lucian Nami perché sai che c'è Draven disponibile, non hai fretta di andare a prendere Scaling perché comunque Yuumi per fortuna è stata rimossa, quindi non ci sono questi enchanter che garantiscono l'hyperscaling di campioni come Sivir o Zeri, o meglio sì, c'è Lulu ma non fa la stessa cosa e lo sappiamo bene. Sembra che comunque gli Sky con questo versus Nami vogliono puntare su Lucian Nami, la loro corsia inferiore. Astralis bannando Yuumi non possono contestare con Lucian Yuumi e quindi vanno su Ezreal, vanno semplicemente sulla rassa da quella bot side. Parlando di Ezreal, oggi l'abbiamo visto appaiato a Twitch Support AP in Corea, non avverrà in Europa purtroppo, arriva Karma.
Arriva uno dei più standard supporti da accompagnare appunto Ezreal in botlane per la Ras, per il poke, quello che vuoi mettere. È l'unica cosa che ti permette di dar fastidio a quella Lucian Nami botlane che sappiamo poter divorare la partita da un momento all'altro. E ora ovviamente il focus da un lato va sulla corsia superiore e quel ban di Fiora con Jax bloccato mi sorprende e non poco. C'è Xanta ancora a disposizione, ma vedremo cosa sceglieranno soprattutto gli Astralis. Strano non vedere bannati i mid laner, appunto.
Ecco, arriva il ban immediatamente su Kassadin per abilitare la mid lane. Xante, tra l'altro, è un campione che più si va ad esplorare competitivamente parlando, più rimango convinto che non sia affatto ok. Proprio tutt'altro che ok nel suo stato di bilanciamento attuale. Ricordiamo ai nostri telespettatori che tutta la fase di BO1 di partite singole, single round robin, verrà giocata in 13.1. Quindi vedremo questa patch avanzare fino a lunedì e poi scomparire una volta che si arriverà alle BO3. Con dei cambiamenti di meta non così massicci nelle regioni che l'hanno già adottata, la 11, la 13.1b, devo dire che questo mi ha lasciato abbastanza sorpreso. Vai, considerata la bot già loccata, sa che non andrà ad affrontare Brom, sa che non andrà ad affrontare Wukong perché l'hanno bannato gli Astralis, è un buon lock qui per gli Sky.
Sì, assolutamente. Ti permette anche di giocare in maniera aggressiva verso la botlane, che deve essere il motore portante di questa formazione. L'Over su Vex è il Dayor Classic. C'è anche Sylas a disposizione, ha avuto una buona performance su Sylas in chiusura della scorsa settimana. Chiudono il giro con anche un bel gangplank. Tanto scaling da parte degli Astralis, forse troppo? Punto di domanda.
Ecco, stavo per andare lì, perché non è solo troppo scaling, ma una severa dipendenza dalla corsia inferiore, considerando che stai affrontando un ganking jungler in Vi che può tranquillamente impattare la partita anche a livello 3, Lucian Nami, tanti danni, e Sertus va infatti a loccare le Blank. È un matchup particolare contro Sylas, comunque non gli stai dando una suprema importante da andare a rubare. comunque ti stai portando su un campione che ha tanto wave clear, può giocare sulle corsie laterali, vuole penetrazione magica, e Sylas verosimilmente, al di là del quello che è stato ufficializzato come brevetto da Bjergsen, il Sylas vegano, da lui definito, ovvero quello che va per bastone secolare Mercury Banshee, la
Mamma
build che
mia.
si rifiuta di fare danno, però si rifiuta di riceverne a sua volta.
Sì.
Ok, può tarpare le ali alle Blanc nel mid game, ma LeBlanc ha un'intera mappa da giocare. La draft degli SK è solida, hai tanti metapick, hai un piano conduttore, hai scaling, hai un buon early game. Vai deve fare gli straordinari nei primi 15 minuti di partita per assicurarsi che tutto vada nella direzione della sua squadra, e dall'altro lato gli Astralis, l'ho detto, Gangplank a un certo punto arriva, Sylas a un certo punto arriva. Sono gli Astralis che devono arrivare a quel certo punto.
Sì, e qua c'è proprio bisogno. Ne abbiamo parlato molto spesso in passato, specialmente per esempio durante i nostri cast di TG Nationals, ovviamente. Però c'è bisogno che gli Astralis riescano a mettere in atto quella che è fondamentalmente la strategia per citare il nostro coach di quel tipo, di Coach Cristo. Cioè, scaling sì, tantissimo scaling, tantissima difficoltà nel approcciare la partita nelle fasi iniziali, nei primi minuti, ma anche possibilità di cancellare la possibilità degli avversari di divertirsi. Non è la composizione che ti permette di farlo, quella degli Astralis, ma vedremo se ci riusciranno, perché siamo stati puntuali con la draft, siamo stati velocissimi. A questo punto, ragazzi, si va in game o no?
Il tunnel infinito
Oh, sì.
si dispiega di fronte ai nostri occhi, e signori, siamo finalmente sulla landa degli evocatori. Astralis contro SK Gaming, hashtag alla mano, AST win per il blue side, SK win per il red side.
Che paura, che tremore, che panico per un attimo, ma no, siamo in game, siamo pronti.
La pausa è dietro l'angolo, lo sai anche tu,
Lo so.
sii sincero con te stesso. Andiamo un attimino ad analizzare i vari setup, niente che ci vada a sorprendere particolarmente, se non magari il PTA su Ezreal, che ha bisogno di giocare aggressivo contro Lucian Nami per poter scambiare in fase di corsie, quindi è abbastanza comprensibile. PTA Ezreal nei miei sogni più reconditi potrebbe anche stare a significare un bel Kraken Slayer Navori Predatore d'essenza Ezreal, ma non è la draft perfetta per giocare quel tipo di build. Non vuoi andare a spikare al tuo terzo oggetto se stai giocando contro Lucian Nami. Sulla corsia centrale Certus Electroshock, quindi comunque una LeBlanc aggressiva, e per il resto poco ci sorprende. Gangplank, abbiamo Bankplank, quindi un Gangplank che vuole guadagnare, un Gangplank al quale non importa vincere o perdere la fase di corsia, lui vuole arrivare al suo scaling. E avevi menzionato una cosa interessante sulla quale voglio tornare, ovvero scaling, le draft che abbiamo visto popolarizzate in Italia da parte di Coach Cristo. Quelle draft avevano sempre un fail safe button, avevano sempre un campione adibito interamente.
Ne parliamo? Ok, no. No, ne parliamo tra poco, perché Jong-un continua ad andare in
già.
avanti. Kobe lo raggiunge a destra, arriva la guarigione, Doss utilizza anche la sua, deve flashare via. Pensavo fosse finita l'azione quando Kobe si è tirato indietro, ma guarda come premono, guarda i danni, il flash! Il primo sangue di Hexakick. 4 Summon Spell volate in 2 minuti e 10 secondi.
Capisco l'idea da un lato.
Sì.
Aeri e PTA ti invogliano a tradare, e comunque sappiamo che di Lucian e Nami fa molta paura il livello 2, il livello 1 quando vengono utilizzate le abilità viene coperto, ma Hexakick e Dosso se la sono giocata così bene. Quel flash di Hexakick ha visto la linea, l'ha tagliata. Niente da dire,
Bellissimo.
molto molto bravi qui i bottom laner degli SK. Gli Astralis gli si può davvero recriminare poco, perché Jong-un rimane in avanti, conosce comunque di poter fare danni importanti con aerei e rimane il quanto più vicino possibile agli avversari in modo da velocizzare i tempi di recupero di aerei, ma qui Hexakick ha semplicemente letto troppo bene la situazione. E un brutto inizio, senza ombra di dubbio, primo sangue a Lucian, esattamente quello che non doveva succedere su questo lato di mappa. Tornando al
Anche
discorso
perché-
di prima,
Vai, sì, giusto.
le draft da scaling, chiudo un attimo giusto la frase per non
Sì,
lasciare
sì.
il nostro pubblico in cliffhanger, hanno bisogno di qualcosa che impedisca agli avversari di snowballare. Questa draft degli Astralis non ha quel qualcosa, e
Esatto.
gli SK hanno il primo sangue su Lucian.
Quel qualcosa potrebbe essere giusto Gangplank, però comunque Jax si prende quello che vuole ad un certo punto della partita. Qua Markun cerca invece di prendersi la salute degli SK e non ci riesce, perde anche un bel chunk della sua, ma poi torna a farmare senza alcun problema. Volevo parlare io invece di Jax, perché È ricominciata la mia cara Lega Pacifica e non vedevo l'ora di divertirmi. Abbiamo già parlato un pochino off camera delle disgrazie che stanno avvenendo. E a
Il
proposito di
laboratorio,
quello,
quello brutto, quello con i catenacci davanti, dove ti dicono che è chiuso, ma qualcuno ancora ci lavora.
sì, e oggi c'era il dottor Rest al lavoro in laboratorio. Irrelevant tra lo stordimento, fin arance se ne va. Il dottor Rest, che abbiamo visto anche al mondiale con i CFO, ha tirato fuori un Jax da bastone secolare. Lo lasciamo cucinare oppure lo interrompiamo, il pazzo
Lo
scienziato?
lasciamo cucinare, assolutamente. Sono convinto
Ok.
che abbia un ottimo contesto di esistenza il Jax da bastone secolare. Specialmente perché comunque nella build da potere magico puoi prendere velocità d'attacco. Ma qui
Vabbè,
non serve velocità
Jong-un.
d'attacco per
No,
fare queste cose. a
serve una
Jong-un.
preghiera per Jong-un per scappare via. Dos probabilmente cadrà per mano di Kobe. Exik ha un po' di mana per girarsi, ma probabilmente non ha i cooldown. Infatti non le vediamo in basso. Solo la sua Q tornata ora, mentre Kobe non ne manca una di Q di colpo mistico a segno. Trova la kill in risposta, ma rischia adesso. Livello 4 appena raggiunto da Exik. C'è Markun che ha il flash. Caricherà lo spaccaferro. No, arriva direttamente agitata corpo a corpo contro l'avversario. Ora lo spaccaferro parte. Facile uccisione. Non dall'assist a Exakick, ma comunque si porta a casa la vita di Kobe.
Sì, il trade da parte della duo lane degli SK è stato azzardato principalmente perché è arrivato in mezzo ad una grossa ondata. E quindi ancora a livello 3 Lucian e Nami hanno preso tanto danno da quell'ondata di minion. Sono stati bravi gli Astralis a leggere la situazione e comunque cercare di spostarsi subito dopo verso la conca in modo da forzare tutta questa grossa ondata di minion a collassare sul duo avversario e bloccare anche un'eventuale via di fuga, perché guarda Exakick. Exakick qui non è spaventato dal trade perché non ha cooldown o perché non ha mana, qui è spaventato dal trade perché c'è un grosso minion cannone e quello è un Lucian a livello 3. Bounce back nel minischermo, si portano Drago alla mano gli Astralis almeno a rimbalzare sulle risorse di mappa e potrebbero adesso muovere 1-1-3 sulla corsia inferiore.
Ed è ora 1-1-3 che deve cercare un po' di azione, anche lui sicuramente. Difficile farlo contro questa composizione, lo dicevamo. Anche lui, parlavi di Dayor, uno dei giocatori che ha sofferto di più l'approccio nell'easy. Il povero jungler, ex Giants, ex Carmine Corp. L'abbiamo visto anche giocare i suoi pick, ora messo più sul ruolo sicuramente supportivo, su un campione molto forte in questo meta. Vedremo perché c'è bisogno di tanto apporto da parte sua. Mentre a proposito di apporto da parte dei jungler, flash mangiato,
Ok.
spaccaferro a segno, contrattacco stordente, praticamente Max Range, le arance da parte di Finn sono ottime. Anche la Suprema vorrà utilizzarla forse per togliere quei minion fastidiosi, no, decide addirittura di lasciarli, torna in base senza problemi.
E di nuovo stiamo vedendo Markun iperattivo sulla mappa, stiamo vedendo 1-1-3 molto erbivoro su questa Sejuani versus una Vai che livello 4 si è già portato a casa risorse in corsia inferiore dopo un gank andato male, uno andato molto bene, e adesso comunque l'aggressione in topside per dare spazio a Jax, forzata la suprema di Gangplank pur di pulire l'ondata ed impedire che Irrelevant